Alright, this is just going to be kind of a video of what I've been doing lately. First off, I'm going to go ahead and go through my skills, what I use. And this is just some pretty basic stuff, but there's some of my friends need to hear this. Starting out, this is kind of my semi-spammable. I use Crushing Shock. It doesn't really cost a lot of magicka, and it does quite a bit of damage. And it also procs this about 1/3 of the time. Now, just getting into it, whenever I use a magic ability and this procs, this is a skill I'm going to go ahead and use because this does the most damage. But one of the first things I do is if I come up on an enemy, I'll use Haunting Curse. Now, Haunting Curse has critted on NPCs for about 20,000. So, and this is going to hit twice. So basically, once after 3.5 seconds, and it's going to do another over 8.5 seconds. So about 5 seconds after that initial hit, it's going to do another hit. This is good. It functions in a way as a damage over time because you can fire it and forget it, and fire this and work with your other abilities. And having this work in the background really does a lot of damage. Usually it would crit for about 19k. I've had it crit for as high as 21k, but it's the point being it does a lot of damage, and even if it doesn't crit, it's still working in the background. If you get a double crit out of this, of course, it's going to be nearly 40k damage. So, Haunting Curse is one of the abilities you must have. And of course, Crystal Frag. This is kind of your bread and butter of your Sorcerer. Whenever it procs, you can cast it instantly, and you figure it uses 50% less magicka, so we're right down to about 1700 magicka costs, which makes this really valuable. And I've had this, normally it will crit right at around 25k. I've had it crit for as high as 27 something, but it works pretty well. This is a really handy skill for PvP. I can't tell you how many enemies I've killed with this. If you can time this right, you can stun a sorcerer, and then they can't run another shield or anything, and you can hit them with all the rest of these skills, and it'll lower their health, and usually you finish them off pretty easily. This is Hardened Ward, and I keep this on my front bar because it is your most, your strongest shield that you can use. And of course I've got Ice Comet here. This is a really nice ultimate, but this is kind of a flex spot. You can use what you want. Under your Storm Calling skills, you have Power Overload, and that's a really strong ability as well. But for practical purposes, I've used this, and it's under the Mage's Guild, under Ice Comet. So that's what I've used for PvP. I'll go in, like if I see a player, I'll hit him with Haunting Curse, Rune Cage, then spam this, and at some point the Crystal Frags will proc, and you can use that. My back bar is sort of my defense bar. I've got Dark Conversion. This is a really good skill to have. It gives you a lot of magicka back. Streak, I've used this quite a bit, and it works really, really well. You can streak through players and come out on the other side and start hitting them. And usually people aren't quick enough to catch up to what you're doing and that sort of thing. Power Surge, Normally, just before a fight, I'll hit this. It'll give me major sorcery, which will it'll give me about another 20% spell damage, and it also gives it for 33 seconds, and for every critical strike, you heal for 25-50 health. And on this, don't worry about critical strikes. If you're at 30% or so, you're probably going to be okay. And in using this ability, each of these can proc your flame damage, your frost damage, or your shock damage. Each of these has a chance to crit, so you wouldn't have to necessarily worry about that. Bell in the Storm, of course, this makes you take air, and it gives you a little bit of speed for a while, and that helps quite a bit. And here's Harness Magica. Now I'll show you what I do. Oh, and this is a absorption field. It really heals you for a lot when you use this ability. If you stand inside of it, you just get healed for quite a bit, and it will cause the enemy players to not be able to run. So I'm going to go ahead and show a few more things. First, see how quick that went, but typically that's what you want to do. Another thing that I'll show you is something about shield stacking. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my back bar, hit Harness Magica, and then go to my front bar and hit Harden Ward. Notice on my red bar just how much shield I get from that. Okay, right now I've got 31.6k shields. Now that's really hard to get through. Now when you're in Cyrodiil, that's going to be cut in half. But if you get quick with this, as you can see, you're not going to take a lot of damage. So this is a really good thing to have. Once you get good at stacking shields, it's going to do a whole lot for your tankiness and survivability. And you can hit with critical hits and heal inside this shield, and basically nothing can touch you as long as you can keep that going. So that's really kind of what I've been doing. The build, I've got a mixture of Julianos, and I've got 2 Elegants for the added stamina, and I've got Mighty Children's, Pauldron, and Helm of Pirate Skeleton. That's for something to keep me tanky. And here I've got the Ring of Willpower and the Necklace of Willpower. And here I've got Magica Recovery and 2 spell damages. I changed to the Archinarch mundus stone for the Magica Recovery. As you can see, my Magic Recovery is pretty well up there. This is the food I use, the Clockwork Citrus Fillet. It really is pretty good stuff. It's a little bit expensive, but this is kind of my preference now. Now, if you want, these are cheaper, and you can go ahead and use these. There's not a whole lot of difference, except you won't be getting the health recovery that you get with this. So it's really up to you. But in real life, it doesn't make that much difference. But you know, there it is. It is what it is for you. Now, as far as potions, there's a few ways that I'd use a few things that I do. I use this for times that I don't really think I'm going to get CC'd. I'll go ahead and use this, and this keeps my major sorcery up and gives me critical and magical recovery. Essence of Health is for the times that I'm in a situation where I think I might get CC'd. This really helps your stamina as well as the other things. Ideally on a sword, just from experience, I find you do need that stamina for break free. This is a good one to have. Really good for night blades. If I know there's a night blade around, I pop this and basically I can get them. And I've also got this here, Essence of Immovability, which gives me health and magicka. And of course, I've got one for escape if there's a time that I need to escape or anything like that. I have that option there. Most of my adventures are in Imperial City, so I tend to use things that will help that. Now, there's a few things I need to do to this build. One, I need to get the Undaunted, and what that will give me is Undaunted Metal. Once you reach level 9, you gain basically 6% for every type of armor that you have. So, basically that's once you have this, you can raise your stats considerably. And on a sorcerer, it's pretty important that you have a high stat pool of magicka for your shields. So this is going to be one of my goals. One of my other goals is I'm going to finish getting the Lich set. Basically what I'm going to do is keep 2 willpowers and use 1 Lich and put a Lich here, Lich here, Lich here, Lich here, giving me a 5-piece. The reason I'm doing that is because the magicka recovery is pretty intense with this set. Every time you go beneath 33%, it will give you a whole bunch of magicka recovery back, which in this case I'd have 1785 with a potion that goes up to 2000. So basically I would have 3000 magicka recovery, and it's a really good idea to have that because you need that out there. It really helps because it takes magic to run shields and that sort of thing, especially if you're shield stacking and all that. So that's going to be the next goal. Now, here I've got a magicka recovery. Once I get the Lich set, I may just put on, I don't know, weapon or spell damage. I'm not sure yet. I may put on more spell damage. I may change this to one of the other ones, the Apprentice, which gives you more magic damage. This is just something I'm going to have to play around with and find out exactly what I want to do, and that's going to come with gameplay experience and that sort of thing. But anyway, that's about it as far as that. Now, just something for a friend of mine. She wanted to know, I think, a little bit about what these glyphs can do. Now, notice I've got an infused staff, and on this staff I have magic damage and something that restores health. What I would like to do is show you just how much health this restores. Now, you'll see it on the left-hand side of my screen as the glyph procs, just how much it heals me for. The lightning staff with the shock damage does more damage, hands down. Oh, there's no doubt about that. I've had this thing proc. When it crits, it's like 78, 8,000 something. but it hits really hard. But with this, it's really good for a PvE situation. I don't use it in PvP so much, just because the health that you get back really doesn't amount to all that much. But anyway, I'll just go ahead and show you this. Life drain 19. 119. One nine. 1913. So as you can see, this heals you for quite a bit. So there you have it. Now this, what I'm going to do is go ahead and switch back. I usually use this anyway, but in a PvE situation, this is going to really help your survivability a whole lot. You can see how much that proc for. So anyway, these are the skills I've used, and I've found out of everything, this seems to be the most helpful. Crushing Shock, Haunting Curse, Crystal Frags, Room Cage, and of course Hardened Ward. So anyway, I hope this gives you some ideas, and it should help you guys out a lot. Just remember, this is the goal, getting the Lich set. This is really going to solve a lot of problems as far as Magica recovery goes. And what I may end up being able to do is add some more spell damage to the build because of that. But anyway, I hope you guys found this helpful, and I'll talk to you later. Take care.